School. You know what it is.
You know who it is.
OG Lee, UNDE, back with another one. Yes, indeed.
Yes,
baby.
indeed.
Now, hey, OG Lee, today was a significant day for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had my daughter turn 5 years old today.
Had the party.
A landmark, man. I'm getting old. I'm feeling it. But in my age, man, I'm looking around. I'm seeing my loved ones around. People are smiling. Things are happy. There's sugar rushes.
Right there. Today is.
Hey.
What is today?
It's a Red Cup Saturday.
It's a Red Cup Saturday.
Pour you up one.
And in case they don't know what that is, that's an excuse for us to have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, man, with your story.
Every once in a while, you gotta have your little taste of something. But like I said, my loved ones are around. People are smiling. Everything's happy. And I just had a thought, right? I'm thinking like,
I could see the smoke.
You can see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm thinking like, looking at a kid and someone grown up, what would you say is the most important kind of aspect of kind of like the development of a young person? The biggest key, you would think.
Nowadays, as I was saying with the last video, is they got to learn how to deal with conflict resolution. That's the first thing. And, because you really want to raise a child to be a good adult, right? Yeah. So with a lot of these kids, the way they're dealing with stuff, man, you have to first teach them, especially if this music keeps on like it's going. You got to teach them to deal with conflict resolution. It's an absolute must because the music is powerful. We saw that with Why Did They Make One Love, right? With Bob Marley, to show you the power of music. So if you go on with this rap, right, and these kids are trying to develop themselves, if you've got, your kid exposed to that, one of the first things you got to do is teach conflict resolution because the music and the society is promoting violence with these kids. So if you want to teach your kid, as a matter of fact, I think that people have to keep their kids off of these social medias and off of television. If you want to raise a kid in today's society to be a good adult, keep them away from that kind of stimuli.
Keeping them away from social media, or what that would be doing, what exactly though? You know what I'm saying? That would be
keeping them away from devilish exposure. That's
keep
the bottom
them
line.
Kind of pure. That's
as pure as you can, because you got so many different stimuli out here.
I was thinking.
So you keep them away from as much. See, this is the thing. In this day and time, with all of the developments we got in terms of medicine, a person that's 5 years old now, like your daughter turned, they're gonna live to be 100 years old.
Yeah.
So there's no reason that you have to rush them into all of this kind of stuff that they really don't need to be exposed to at a young age. And so what you want to do to try to minimize that as best you can. Minimize all of that garbage that's coming in, because you just can't expose kids to just anything and expect them to be normal adults.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because that's kind of what I was thinking. Like I said, it was bliss kind of there. And I'm just like, man, this is really how it's supposed to be. Happiness, everyone's loving each other around. And yeah, I think that's really kind of a large part of.
And the tablets and all of that. See, and the thing about it is, I remember, and of course you post your pictures and everything showing how when they were, born and when they were 2 and 3 and whatever. And from 0 to 5, boom, went just like that. So 0 to 10 or 5 to 10. 10 to 15 goes just like that. And before you know it, they're adults. And you let them out, and you expect them, of course, to conduct themselves like you raised them. And an interesting thing is, one of the things we saw, or I saw this weekend, which you saw too, was my oldest granddaughter. She's a junior in high school now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Time flies.
And so that time flies, but you have to, know that, because she's wanting to stay with a friend, and do this and do that. And you got to learn, that you've trusted, that you can trust them now based on how you raise them. And if you raise them right, hopefully, because you can raise them right and they can still come under other people's influence. But if you raised them right and taught them about how to stand on what you've taught them, they stand a pretty good chance.
Yeah, to develop and come these.
It's scary though. It's scary.
positive products of society. It is very scary, man. Especially what you know going out there, what the society's already tainted with, and already what's out there, man. Keeping them pure. What's the realistic age you think you can keep them from, but where they're just inevitably kind of not taken by it, but exposed to kind of
the age
quote
is
unquote
till
devilish.
it's till they leave the house. And for fathers who they already know this, because you can see it with the fatherless. You got to protect your sons, especially.
As long as
protect
possible.
your sons as long as possible, because when they are not protected and they become products of the street, they get raised by the street. That's when you got problems. So the idea is don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to the outside noise. Know how you want your son to turn out. And it's the same thing with your daughter, obviously, but sons particularly, because sons, when they get to be products of the street, they get killed in our communities. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really protect your son. Don't care what nobody say about you overprotecting them or whatever. Don't, make them chumps, but realize, man, I got to protect my son. Got to protect my son.
Me, being a girl dad, right? Girl dad, thus far in my life. Like you say, being a chump, is there too much kind of like unexposure you could give to your sons? Like, can you make them too soft at a point, or
Well, normally,
a little balance?
if the father is raising them, he normally doesn't make them too soft. It's when the mother raises them and she tries to protect and overprotect. Normally, the father knows if he's been raised and he's a man, he knows kind of the boundaries of what to do with his son or what not to do with his son. Girls, you want to protect, indefinitely if you can, because the thing you are concerned about with girls is pregnancy. A lot of people, again, you got people who can influence your kids. Absolutely. And so being aware of that, know that, man, every place my daughter is, same thing with your son, and don't think you're overprotective. Every place they are, you should know, especially your daughters. Where you going? Oh, no, you're not going there. Why the hell would I have you going there? And a lot of times there's no adult supervision. You are with a bunch of rowdy teenagers. Y'all drinking, smoking. No, you don't need to be there. And don't worry about how they feel about you at that time, because you said no, they can't go to something. Very important to protect your kids, because this society will destroy them. And we can see that. You look at the jails, you look at the prisons. A lot of the prisons got young brothers, 19 years old, doing life because they were a product of the street. The main thing is to protect your kids. Don't worry about what nobody says. If your son say, hey, Dad, I'm going here. Oh, really? What's going to be happening over there? I want to know everything that's going on.
Who's over there?
You're not going to, again, act like, you are creating, a young man that is soft. You know what I'm saying? He understands what he got to do to be a man, but understand that, hey, my dad understands what could happen when I'm in certain environments. And so everywhere they're going, you need to know about it. Who's going to be there? Which parent is going to be all of that shit, right? Because once they become adults, no one cares about, how you incrementally, as I said before, raise them. You know what I'm saying? The main thing is that you raise them with a standard that they understand. And they understand that, look, this is what I live by. Matter of fact, they should feel you on their shoulder when they're doing certain things and knowing, hey, my dad would not approve of this. My mom would not approve of this. And that is the bigger thing than the influence that they're around. That should be. And that's what you want to try to do. Make your influence. That's the good word. Excellent word. That's the word that I'm looking for. Instill in them, certain type of ethics, certain type of values that they understand. Hey, I'm not about that. I don't come from that. You can see people doing it, and to sit back and just look at it. Don't imitate that. Don't emulate that.
Which I'll say one thing you instilled in me was kind of like a frugal mindset. Live below your means a bit. You were telling me about some discount or some, I don't know, you referenced that when you were...
Here recently?
Yeah.
I went to the store. And speaking of the grandkids, which I always use that as an excuse to buy shit that I shouldn't eat. So I was going to buy a box of ice cream sandwiches. And I looked at the price and I said, oh, man, that's a damn good price. But when I got closer and read the fine print, It said if you buy 5 or more. And I thought, damn, what would I look like buying 5 boxes of ice cream
But
sandwiches?
they're $1.99 at that price.
Man, look.
But you got 5, eh?
Man, it was a hell of a deal. I don't remember the price, but I just thought, what would I? And it's all the discounts like that, but it's usually shit you don't need. 5 bags of Lay's potato chips. Who needs 5? And you don't buy them in a group, you know.
Do you ever go for it?
Man, I do go for it every once in a while, but not shit like potato chips and junk. If they've got something that we use, then I do that.
The digital. It is usually they might say it's digital if it's like a Kroger.
Well, that's what it was. It was a markdown, and then a further markdown if you bought 5 or more. But let me just say this since I mentioned potato chips.
Yeah.
Potato chips, pretzels, and shit like that. It's the only industry that could sell you a half a bag of shit and get away with it.
Air, that's when the air gets really
Man,
expensive.
imagine a alcoholic going to the liquor store and they give him a half a bottle of wine, a half a bottle of liquor. Wow, who can get away with that shit? Can you get away with a half a bottle of salad dressing?
Let's think. Who could get away with
the potato chip people, man. A big ass bag, you open it up, and you're like, damn, where the chips at? Chips is way down in the damn bottom. And I know they could do better than that. I know they can. I don't care about no air and all that bullshit. You can do better than that.
Liquor, though, should it be filled more up the neck of the bottle?
Liquor's fine right where it is.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? That's a good standard. You know what I mean?
It's just
same thing with beer.
Huh?
Somebody couldn't give you a half a can of beer.
You can't do that.
So why is it the potato chip people can get away with that shit? I think they should give you a discount on every bag.
I'm really trying to think like what could be half full, but it's just those dark on potato.
You can't get a half a jar of pickles.
You can't.
Can you get a half a jar of mayonnaise?
Maybe. But half air, half chips, they can get away with it.
Yeah, they get away with it all the time. And I'm sure they saying it's because of the way we have to pack them, but pack them another way. Pack them another way, because they're the only ones that I'm sure there's a few others, but I noticed that. I'm like, man, you selling me 5 bags of chips, but that means that it's 2.5 bags.
And you know what that makes me think of?
We's free. We's free. What did it make you think of?
That kind of brought a potential word of the day to mind right there, right?
Here we go. Red Cup Saturday.
A Red Cup Saturday. That might bring me to a Red Cup Saturday type of mood, type of conversation. Because I'm thinking that the Lays cheating us like that, the people should keep them responsible, which made me think of this word of the day here, which is consequences, man.
That's a very important word.
Consequences. They're doing something like that. They should have to stand up for it and tell us why. Maybe even give us a reason they should maybe have these consequences.
And I think that should not just be the word of the day. That might be the word of life. Consequences. Because everything you do has consequences, good or bad. Absolutely. And you got to understand that in the pre or the forethought. What are the consequences of the actions I'm about to take?
I got you.
See, we having Red Cup Saturday, right?
Red Cup.
One of the things I thought, or I think I taught you, is how to drink responsibly, right? Otherwise, there are what? Negative consequences if you don't drink.
Very negative.
You know? And that's very important to understand consequences. What's going to happen, or what could happen based on the actions I'm about to take.
Absolutely indeed. And I'm pulling up here the Webster definition, but could you potentially use consequences in a sentence for us? For today?
I'll just make it short and sweet. If you do certain things, son, there will be consequences. And sometimes when you're young and you do things and you come in, there's an ass whipping waiting for you. That's consequences. You know what I'm saying? Consequences.
And we got the official wording. Consequence, a result or effect of an action or condition. So just the result of, and whether good or bad, not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just the result. You do this, there's that.
Man, there was a guy who I grew up with named Michael Rossiello. White guy, obviously. Italian guy. Rossiello. Shout out to Nose. But anyway, I used to watch the older dudes that was along with my brother, like 4 years older than me. And when they got to the point where they were like 16, of course, what they were hunting at that point, right? And Michael Rossiello was the only guy who carried a condom.
Keep it on him. Keep it on this person.
To the point where you could see the print in his wallet. And someone taught him that when you go out with that young girl and y'all get to the point where y'all are going to have sex, there could be consequences if you don't use what back then it was gross. It was called a scumbag. Is what they used to call them. Condoms. It was a scumbag. Which is crazy, which is why when you hear
what years are these? Come on.
It's just like 72. It's like 72, 73.
72, okay.
And what's the governor's name in California right now? Look it up right quick while we're doing this, because Trump referred to him and used scum in his name. And so a lot of people that don't know that didn't think about it, but older people thought, oh man, he's gonna go too far, because they remember when you used to call a condom a scumbag. So somebody...
Is it Gavin? Oh, Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, he called him Gavin Newscum. Gavin Newscum. And so the older people that understand that, because when somebody's just at the gut level, you call them scum,
Scumbags.
So he said, yeah, and the Italians used to always use that. Hey, fucking scumbag, man. So when he called them new scum, people was like, wait, you're going too far. But anyway, the brothers, most of us fatherless and not caring, never carried a condom. But Michael Rossiello always carried a condom because someone taught him about the consequence of not using that at the right time.
Which could be vital
consequence.
Not using that bad boy. Shout out to our young listeners, man, if they're in there, man.
And
take
another
care of that.
thing
Wrap it up. Nothing wrong with that.
When we talked about what you call the violence, in our communities, right? And you talk about teaching these young people. A lot of brothers, which we mentioned, they're 19 years old, 20 years old, they catch a charge, they doing life without, because they didn't think about the consequence of their actions.
Just seconds, too, sometimes.
A lot of times. And a lot of times, they on this. They on the sauce. And I don't know how many people, whether they're high, drunk, or a combination, they do something, they wake up in jail, and never see the light of day again. Man. Consequences, man, that's why I say that's the word of life. Even for many adults, whatever you do, you always have to think, what is the consequence of my action? Very, very important.
Every mickle make a muckle, and them consequences could be devastating.
Consequences are good sometimes, but consequences can be bad.
Absolutely.
We free! We free!
I've got a good old
mind crusher. Is it a good old mind crusher?
We'll see, man. I'm peeling off the top. This one, it says self-love.
Self-love.
If you clone yourself and you could change your cloned gender to whatever you'd like, would you have sex with your clone? Do you think you'd end up getting married?
Like I was telling you before, we need to throw those motherfuckers away.
That's a valid question. I mean, that's interesting. How you feel about that?
I'm old school. So all this old clone shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not with all of that shit, man. So I'm going to clone somebody. Oh, well, I mean, but it's going to be another being, though, because I'm cloning, right? Yeah. And then I'm going to change the gender, maybe.
It could be a female yourself.
And then they'd ask, would I fuck her? It
Would
didn't
you
say would I have a relation. What did it say?
would you have sex with it? Her? And potentially could you get married? A female version of yourself.
Well, I would have to get married first before I fuck her, right? Isn't that the way it's supposed to work?
If you're doing it the
Man,
right way.
listen, I'm not cloning shit. Once I even think about cloning, it gets like to me like real kind of like gray, gray area to where I wouldn't even be fucking with no cloning, nothing, man.
Not
And
at
then
all.
to think that I'm gonna have sex with it, marry it, and all that, because then we're gonna have some little clonites or whatever, right? I'm not messing with none of that shit. I'm gonna revert that question back to you.
If I would have sex with my female self,
Well, it didn't say you have to. It said any gender you want, didn't it? So some people would say, hey, I don't want it to be a female. They might clone a.
yeah, that's a harsh word. I don't condone that word either. And
You don't condone that word?
no,
Why not?
Just not a word in my vocabulary.
Yeah, it was in mind, right? And so as time went on, they changed it. And so 15 years from now, or another generation, 20 years from now, they're gonna be calling them something else, right? When I came up, there was a word called retarded. Now, if you say that, it's like, oh, wow. They gave them all these acronyms, ADHD, ADH, HDD, what all of the same thing it boils down to in a way, because it was based on like the way you see the person.
Hold on. No, I'm losing my train of thought. We were talking about what exactly again?
About fucking a clone.
Oh, yeah, my female self. I don't think I would. No, I mean I probably would. We'll probably have some great times. Of course, this would be pre, my current relationship. Shout out my me.
That's a good question too.
What?
If you already in a relationship,
Yeah, like I
would
meet
you
my
still
female
do
self.
it and put your female self in the closet maybe and just have affairs with her or something?
That would be strange, and I feel like it would still be another person, right? I don't know.
It is literally right because the
kidnap
clone.
them. Why would I
They
kidnap
cloned you
myself?
because you got to keep her away from your wife.
So this gets a little interesting. So once you clone yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like your little pet at this point, or can they go have their own life? You're getting a little dark with this. You're gonna.
Hey, I don't want nobody fucking my clone,
you're
man.
keeping your clone
don't
like
be fucking my clone.
in like a garage closet is what you're thinking, eh? Wow, you're interesting over there, man.
Well, first of all, like I said, I'm tripping with it, but I wouldn't even mess. Once I hear the word clone, I said, it's like, yeah, I'm out, man, because that's that new school shit.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that
me and my
shit.
female clone will probably have a good time though.
But what you gonna do about your wife?
I was saying it was pre-wife before.
Oh, pre-wife.
I mean, if it's a female clone, I probably we wouldn't even have probably contact. Honestly, I don't know how we would meet unless like randomly. I just
Well, if I clone somebody after myself, the first thing is I don't know if I could get along with them because they gotta be an asshole.
Yeah.
Because I'm an asshole.
Yeah. I think I would like myself though. I like myself as of now. And
I like myself, but I'm an asshole still.
Yeah. And you might you just getting like a bloody fight with yourself. What
is the way that you could just knock off a clone? Is there some way that you could knock them off? Like,
I don't know. Man.
It's not like a blow up. You could just
like
pull
I said,
the plug
I
and
think,
the air
they're
goes
just
out.
a person. Like I think you would have to.
Yeah, once I created that
physically
person,
murder them.
Yeah. You catch a charge for murdering a clone?
It would get deep. I would think so. They become their own person.
Do they have a birth certificate and all that? Otherwise, it's like that clone never existed. If you killed them, it's like nobody would miss them or her.
Questions that need to be answered. And okay, we're talking about clones, relationships with clones. This is old school, new school. We talk about nonsense. We can talk about a real topic. I went down a slight wormhole, not even wormhole, but I just had a thought, right?
A cornhole.
Not a cornhole. That's not what I was going for. But I had a question for you, rather.
What is it?
In just, perfect world, all the situations were right. You can make whatever happen. Just think of this idea. What would be the plausibility or the possibility of, the church being like a financial institution for the community?
What reason would you want the church to be a financial institution for the community?
Because I think sometimes with like banks and credit unions and things, there's like a sense of distrust, like with the money and things like that. And
You want to give it to the church?
they do it already without the.
But I would distrust the church more than the bankers.
Okay, so that would be a conversation to be had. Then why would you say that?
Well, if you look at the structure of some of the mega churches, the person who really seems to be G'ing off is the pastor.
Okay.
And so I guess the pastor would be like maybe the CEO unless they had somebody else. But I don't trust the church. I don't trust the bankers. To me, they're like synonymous. Both of them are equally devilish, if you ask me.
So you don't think the idea of your tithes and offerings?
I don't believe in no tithes, first of all. I don't believe in no tithes. I don't go to church, number one, for that, for that reason. But if I went to church, I don't believe in tithes. Because unless I was in a church where I was like right in the mix, where I could see where the money was being spent. And as long as they were spending money for good things, I'd be for it. But most of the time, from what I see anyway, churches don't seem to be progressing, but they keep asking you for money. And then you look around, the pastor's got a nice car, a big ass house and whatever. And I listened to my brother Geno Jennings, if you've ever listened to him. And I believe him when he says you shouldn't have to pay money, first of all, to see somebody preach. You come into the church, you got to pay to be seated in certain places or whatever. And I just don't believe, they call it prosperity gospel. We didn't used to have that in the 60s and 50s and before that. It's just coming 80s, 90s, whatever, where some pastor, he's got to get on a jet plane and go to all of these places, and the church got to pay for his jet plane. And he's got to dress a certain way and have all of this big mansion and all. I'm not going to be, who finances that? It's got to be the church, right? So why would you think that you would be relatively poor and this motherfucker lives in a mansion? I just don't get that mismatch. So I can't, the whole church shit, I can't deal with it. I don't deal with that. But anyway, how would you answer that question?
I would answer it just.
You think the churches need to be banks? And another thing is, I don't think the churches want to be banks.
They don't.
Because right now, they got tax exempt status. Once you start being a bank and all of that, boom, you got the government, the IRS and all that looking at you. The preachers just prefer it like it is now. I get all of this money. I can do whatever I want with it. And they say it's sacred. Nobody checks me.
I think it would just make more sense kind of to like the grand scheme of kind of Christianity.
What I think should be allowed is more micro banks. I think there should be more micro banks where you and me could open up a bank and be able to lend to smaller people. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I don't understand why just certain people can be bankers. I mean, how do they choose them? You know what I'm saying? Because when you look behind the scenes, the U.S. Bank, the Reliance Bank, the Simmons Bank, these are families. So what's allowing those people to bank? If they would allow micro banks, especially with the way they got it going with crypto now, we could lend money to a farmer in Africa, right? And so I think they should promote micro banks more than anything as far as banks for a church.
They might come after you saying stuff like that, man. That sounds too logical.
But I mean, people are trying to do that. This is why you're dealing with blockchain and crypto, because it's global, right? So there's no problem with me having a bank and lending some money, like I said, to somebody who probably is a good farmer. He just does not have resources right now, right? And they don't have banks like we do. But if he could get, online, because he could get on his phone, as a matter of fact, where they are, and apply for a loan from our bank. We screen them just like anybody would.
What would our bank name be?
Old School, New School.
Hey.
The New School part would be the getting into the cryptos and all of that. For people who don't follow that, start researching that. But really, we could loan money.
Old School, New
we could have a micro bank that's worth $10,000. We could make 10 loans for $1,000. $1,000 would help an African farmer probably go a long way. Maybe buy another goat, another cow, just whatever the situation might be.
Yeah. Another goat, another cow. Now, you had one other topic that you were telling me about. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was something towards kind of our female audience, perhaps. If there were any
Oh,
lady
wow.
listeners, you were telling me.
That's just one of those where I just think a little deeper.
Mm-hmm. We got our boots
And
on. You got your boots on?
I got them on, man. I got them strapped
You
up.
keep them on you, all right?
But I overheard a guy, he was saying, this was on social media somewhere. He said, a woman, and I agree with him, lives to please a man.
Hold up, stop right there. Cause y'all sitting there listening, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all hit the like. I don't know if y'all hit the comment. Tell us something y'all want to hear. Subscribed. We on TikTok. We on
Facebook.
The X. However y'all want to get to us. We got a Gmail you can get at us. But man, communicate with us because we love y'all.
We on Instagram?
We on Insta, bro. We on
TikTok.
X? We on X.
Yo, we should be on Rumble.
We on Facebook. Oh yeah, we gonna get into the
get all that
too,
shit,
man. But continue, right? You are.
So that's what he was saying, that a female lives and loves to please a man. And a lot of females immediately say, oh, I don't know, no, I don't live to please no man, blah, blah. You know, the neck starts going and all that. Mm-hmm. And so I always wonder, because I see females, they have tattoos in the small of their back. They got tattoos on their shoulder. They got tattoos on their ass cheeks. You can't see those tattoos, sweetheart. So why would you get those tattoos? Mm-hmm. You got a tattoo in the small of your back. That tattoo is for when someone bends you over. Must be, because why would you get a tattoo in the small of your back if you wasn't trying to please a man when he's on some fucking mushrooms or something? And maybe having you from the back or something like that.
They wouldn't even take mushrooms, but yeah, I guess.
What do they use? Percocet? I don't know, to make them do some crazy shit when they looking at that tattoo on her ass or the tattoo on the small of her back.
Yeah.
But the question is, if you're the female, why would you have a tattoo on the small of your back? You can't see it. Why would you have a tattoo in the middle of your back on one of your shoulders? Why would you have tattoos on your butt cheeks? You can't see them. So they got to be for the enjoyment and the pleasure of someone else, I would imagine.
Maybe that's what they could be going for that.
That's what I think they're going for.
Which I'm not a tattoo person, but, you know, someone would say, you know, they're just using their body as art necessarily. And,
again, for who to see, right? You can't see it, because some people say I like to do tattoos to feel good about myself. And they could possibly look down and see them. Even look in the mirror.
But so you can look in the mirror and see a back.
And with another mirror doing all of this type shit, you doing that every day? No, I think you're doing that for
your back, bro.
Huh? How you see a tattoo on your back?
Stand in front of the mirror. Turn with your back to the mirror.
Okay, so great. You standing in front of a mirror when you're outside and all of these places?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so what? You probably just when you're taking a shower, right? At your house. But the other 23 hours you may be somewhere else that when you're not sleeping, right? Mm-hmm. Or it could be that you're getting that when you're having freaky sex with one of your partners, right? When he's hitting you from the back and he's looking at the tattoo, like I said, on shrooms or whatever he's on, tripping on that art that you got on your back. That's what I think it is. I could be wrong. But I think that's what it is. I think they want to bring pleasure to a man, and there's nothing wrong with that. But admit what it is. Too, admit what it is. And it ain't got to be necessarily that you're saying they're freaky. But just, hey, admit what it is. Why would you have a tattoo on the small of your back?
Yeah. Everybody got a little wild side. A little something like that, you know what I'm saying, man?
I could, like I said, be overreaching like I usually am. But I just thought about that when I seen a couple people with tattoos on the small of their back. I'm like, why would you put the fucking tattoo on the small of your back if it's not for somebody else's pleasure? Because all these people now talking, oh, hit it from the back and all this type of shit. So they thought, well, with just a plain body, you know, that wouldn't be enough. So now let me enhance it. Let me put some, you know, maybe they even put a paragraph on their back. You know what I'm saying? So while he's hitting, he's reading something, or I don't know.
Oh, now that would be generous. Just have like a little, you know, just a little passage to take in.
What do you think they would write on their back if they was trying to just hold somebody's attention while he was doing his business?
You could go for like.
What if she had like a big stop sign on her back?
No, I was thinking maybe like a cooking like recipe type of thing, like your little step by step. Teach you how to cook a meal or something like that while you're handle some business, I would think. Put in
Well,
like
he would be cooking while he's hitting it.
No,
It'd be by a stove, and he'd be like reading the recipe. And
I mean, depending on, however you wanted to take it in, but yeah, could teach you, could work it out while you're doing it if you're into that kind of thing.
She could have instructions on how she wants you move over to the left, to the right. You know, gotta have the instructions down how she wants to be hit.
No audio necessary. Yeah, that'd be an interesting.
What if he was one of them dudes who couldn't read it? See, that's because you mentioned that earlier about raising kids. One of the things you want to do is have your kid to be literate, right? Because I remember one dude, I promise you, man, he was reading, but he had the book upside down. He was reading, but he had the freaking book upside down. Every time my man sent him out on a job, he always would call. This is before you had all of this GPS and all of that. He always would call when he, once you sent him out on a job, he would get in the vicinity and he would always call. And we later found out that boy could not read a lick. He was a hell of a worker, but he couldn't read a lick.
What would he be calling for exactly? To
find out, like, where you go. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you.
But he would leave like he knew where he was going. You know what I'm saying? And then he would call you back and try to get more instructions. He couldn't read a lick. Could not read a lick.
I'm gonna hit you with one more.
One more what? One more what?
I got one more.
Let's toast to life.
One more toast to straight.
Man, because you started off by saying you had a 5-year-old today, man.
Ooh.
That's your oldest, man.
Shout out
and
to
you got
the
2 more of them, man. What a family. I love my grandkids, man. And so far, he's raising them right, man. And I would suggest to any young person, man, is to really, if you have kids, shit, you might as well pay attention to them. You didn't have them, or maybe you did, but hopefully you had them because you wanted them. It wasn't just your wife came up to you and said, honey, I'm pregnant again.
There's a baby at our front door.
You wanted them, and you really take time and raise them correctly. Shout outs to all the people.
He love the kids.
And I'll be seeing a lot of your partners, man. It's around your age, either whether you played baseball with them, went to school with them, or whatever. They are really responsible adults, man. I'm really proud of that.
Shout out, man. Shout out. But this what I got. Panpsychism.
Now, first of all, I don't even know what that shit means.
I'm going to tell you, right? Today, I'm going to tell you about a cool philosophical theory. It's called panpsychism. It says that consciousness is a basic property of existence and that literally everything is conscious. It feels like something to be an electron whizzing through space, and it feels like something...
Yo. Choose another card, man. This shit is getting too fucking complicated.
Too deep?
Too fucking deep, man. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? That's some white folk shit. Get another card.
But this card, I'm feeling this card.
But let's get to the bottom of it then.
Everything is conscious. Everything you touch can feel. Everything that's around you is feeling. The computer, the desk, your hat,
so you're
everything.
saying the desk feels me?
Do you find this theory comforting or horrifying? Do you think it's even plausible?
It's not plausible. It's horrifying. Like I said, I'm old
Everything,
school.
The chair, the mic, everything is conscious.
Think about it. If the chair was conscious, what would it be saying to you?
Come on, man. Are you going to stay here all day?
Well, he could be saying, yo, if I was a chair, yo, you get your stinking ass up off of me, man.
Oh, yeah. You ain't wiped good, fella.
If most things was conscious, I mean, we would have a total different life, don't you think? Really, think about the chair. He's like, why the fuck? The chair, if it was a capitalist, it would be charging. You would have a slot right here, right? It would be like, yo, you sitting on me all the time. I need something for that. You know what I'm saying? You sitting on me for your comfort. Shit, the seat could be his face. You know what I'm saying? So when you sitting on a chair's face, and he's like, yo, man, what the fuck's this motherfucker doing sitting on my face? I need to have some compensation or something. He's taking advantage of me.
So you're not liking it. You're horrified of the idea, eh?
Unless, now, if this drink was conscious, what would it be saying?
Would your drink be female or would it be male? What do you think? Would she be like a sexy lady's voice?
I always prefer female anything.
That's how I feel like.
Because you dealing with males,
like,
that's that punk ass shit, man. I don't want to be fucking with no males. Shit going down my throat and all this shit. What the fuck's that about, man? That's what I'm saying. You get what you want to deal with this being a male. You know what I'm saying?
That panpsychism brings that shit out of OGB.
Speaking of that shit, you seeing this little gnat right there?
Which one?
Imagine like what he's saying. That fucking little gnat that's flying around right here. You can't see him. See, there he is right there.
Before you give him a kaplow?
Yeah, he's like, yo, I want to be in a video. I want to be in a video.
He's trying to shout the boy out, man. But yeah, I come with things like that, man. Lighten the mood, heavy the mood, but
yeah. But short. Like I was saying, we got to make some of our own cards. This shit right here, you said it's panpsychism, basically is what it's saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Everything's conscious.
You see who's on the picture? See? Yeah. When you get too deep with these type of motherfuckers, bruh, nah. They come up with some crazy shit that niggas never would think about. And when niggas start thinking about it, it makes them seem like, yo, a little, as they say, crazy. So a lot of that shit that they doing, it ain't meant for us. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it might not be. OG Lee, UNDE. It might not be for you. It might not be for us. But I think us are for you, if that makes sense to you, baby. Old school, new school. You know what it is. You know who it is. We out.